Good morning and welcome, everybody. Let's get started. The Justice Department responding overnight to former President Trump's request for a special master to oversee a review of the FBI raid on his Florida home. In the filing, the agency accusing Trump's team of trying to hide documents and, quote, efforts were likely taken to obstruct the government's investigation. Now, all this coming just one day before a federal judge is expected to make a decision on President Trump's request. Joining the conversation all morning long, Wall Street Journal assistant editorial page editor James Freeman and National Taxpayers Union Executive Vice President Brandon Arnold. Good to see you both this morning. Gentlemen, appreciate your time. James, let's go ahead and start with you because when it comes to the raid on Mar-a-Lago, this notion that there was obstruction, and that's why the Justice Department had to ratchet up its tactics here with respect to that raid, that the president was obstructing their investigation. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I remain very skeptical. I think recent history has taught us we should remain skeptical of the FBI when we're talking about an investigation of Donald Trump involving national security. We remember the history, the manufactured collusion case along with the Clinton campaign. And there's also in this question, we still get back to that. We have an editorial in the paper on the Clinton-Comey standard. We didn't like it, but they basically established a standard that they don't prosecute when a senior former official has allegedly mishandled documents, has not been truthful about documents returned that were work product, has not has had people on her staff cleaning devices. So I think a lot of us were upset that was simply dropped in that fashion by James Comey. But you look at that standard today, and it's hard to see how any of this is a real case. And not to mention, these documents, the president has enormous authority that a Secretary of State didn't have.
Yeah,
Presidential Records Act, the ability to classify documents or not classify them.
You bring up a great point in bringing Hillary up and also James Comey's role in that. Brandon, when it came to Hillary, James Comey essentially said no prosecutor would prosecute this case. But when it comes to President Trump, they're going forward with full force.
Yeah, and there's a legitimate question as to whether this is a double standard or not. But right now it's so hard to know because we get documents that are so heavily redacted. We can't tell what's up and what's down. The allegations that dropped last night are pretty serious, and they need a full level of transparency here. The public needs to know exactly what took place, because when you're talking about obstruction of justice, when you're talking about subpoenaed documents that may have not been turned over, when you're talking about a situation where they may have been moved from one location to another to keep them away from investigators, you're talking about very serious allegations here. Yeah. And you want the law to be enforced in a fair manner.
I think that's an excellent point as well. Meanwhile, U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland issuing a memo banning political appointees from participating in partisan events and reiterating the DOJ's policy of prohibiting communication with members of Congress. James, I'll come to you real quick on this.
Yeah, I can't believe he's got to put out a memo telling the lawyers of the Justice Department not to participate in partisan events. Yeah. I mean, it's bad enough they're partisan actions, but this kind of tells you perhaps how bad the rot is there.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, too. We are just getting started this morning. Coming up, President Biden goes on the offense against MAGA Republicans again.